Hello everyone and welcome to our show. Today we discuss about writing, how you can improve your writing skills, and we will discover some interesting examples with writing non-fiction books because we have today an awesome offer. Carma Spence, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm so excited to learn more about that because, as I told you before the webinar, that it's my passion, to write. I also love filming, to create audio format as well. But writing, I think, is the foundation of any skills. You can't create high quality content, even video content, without writing because you need to write descriptions, titles. If you create web content, yeah, it's the part of the process. So yeah, I'm so excited to learn more about that. And one more thing, I love learning from different niches. For example, if we discover about non-fiction books, we can analyze how we can use for our websites. So before we start, just tell more about yourself, experience, and background.
Sure. Well, I am a award-winning and best-selling author. I have two books that became bestseller in like three categories and one that won three awards. I'm also an award-winning editor because I've been in the writing and editing field for probably going on 30 years now. But honestly, I started falling in love with writing at the age of 4. And
Hmm.
by the 4th grade, my teacher actually set me aside and said, "Karma, you should pursue a career in writing." So I kind of have. And I love writing and I love books. In fact, I probably have, oh my goodness, I put them in boxes and label them with letters, and I think I'm up to the letter N.
Hmm.
So I have a lot of books. And I have published several books. So
Hmm.
I've been taking the experience I have in writing, publishing, and marketing books and am starting to really help others. I'm working with entrepreneurs and small business owners to take the information that's between their ears and get it into
Hmm.
readers' hands in the form of a book. And part of that process is this brand new software I've developed called Author Diagnostics, where I can take people through this detailed like series of questions that really gets people through what they're struggling and how to get on the other side. Right now, I have two diagnostics, one that analyzes a book idea and the other that analyzes that book idea in relation to a larger business. But I do plan to develop more on like author branding and author social media and whatever authors struggle with. So that's sort of me in a nutshell.
Love it, love it. Can you tell where to start to improve writing skills? For example, I can tell why I'm asking about that because I have big companies that order my services, and when they tell me we have no experience with writing, we need to develop our products, innovate them. We have fierce competition, so when give them the task, please create high quality text for our content, and they reply to me, we don't know how to do it. Can you tell how to start from scratch when you have no experience with writing, but you need to write something for your products?
Okay. Well, there's several different tasks you should do, and all of them culminate in you practice, 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 and practicing some more. Because really, this is one of those skills that you just get better the more you do it. But some of the ways you start is there are a lot of good books that will help you. You That's a very low cost entry into it, and pick books written in the topic area that you wanna write in. So if you're gonna
Hmm.
be writing copywriting, get books on copywriting. Uh, I can't remember his first name, but his last name, I believe, is Fry, has an excellent book on copywriting that I highly recommend. Uh, oh my gosh, I'm losing my memory. Dan Kennedy is also a good
Hmm.
one for copywriting. But if you're writing something else, then you wanna read about that. The other thing is to find writing that you really admire and like,
Hmm.
and this is gonna sound strange, but literally copy it on a piece of paper.
Hmm.
So, like, some of the things I did when I was first doing short story writing, I love Ray Bradbury, so I would take one of my favorite short stories of it, and I literally you take and it can't be typing, It has to be like a pen and paper and writing because there's a couple of things that go on when you do that. Number 1, writing rather than typing helps you learn better. It, like, gets into your brain cells. And when you're copying the text of someone you admire, you start feeling their rhythm, and that helps you learn their rhythm and then branch off onto your own because you do not wanna be a mini them. You wanna be a big you.
Yeah.
So those are the 2, like, low cost options that I would say are the best way to, like, really start improving your writing. If you wanna go higher cost, then you start taking classes. There's online classes at your local or you can take in-person classes at your local college. Classes are always very good because not only do you get the knowledge of the teacher, but you also get the knowledge of your fellow students. And then there's always writing groups, and some of those
Mhm.
cost money and some of them are free. But those are usually opportunities where you hand in a piece of writing, everybody reads it, and then gives you your feedback. And you have to be careful with that because a lot of these groups, sometimes there'll be people with really big egos that wanna just rip you to shreds because they can, and it's not constructive. So you take what the feedback you get with a grain of salt, unless that's like an editor. And then, of course, if you're actually producing a book, always, no matter how good a writer you are, always, 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 always hire a professional editor to edit your work. And if you
Mhm.
can, hire 2. One to do the edit before it goes into design and one to do the edit after it's come out of design, because design always adds errors for some reason or helps you see errors that you didn't see when it was in your manuscript format.
Yeah, love it, love it. Yeah, I agree with that. I think professional editor is important for website content as well, for any writing, uh, uh, except social media, because we have no time, to edit
No, no.
simple sentences. Yeah, it's better to be yourself on that. But I think I remember when we got a few projects and writing was good, not bad. But when a writer can create some text, they can miss something, to lose logical structure, and people can bounce such text. But editors, when they read one more time, they can understand. Oh, we need to change something. Can you tell more about editing? Because I found that many famous book authors have like 5, 10 editors who can edit different types of uh, content. Can you tell how to find editors and how to choose between them? Because someone can check out Grammarly, others can check out logical structure, many other stuff. Can you tell more about that?
Yeah, there are different levels of editor. One
Hmm.
is a proofreader. That's someone all they do is check to make sure that you've spelled things correctly, you've got commas in the right places. That's all they look at. They're not looking at structure, they're not looking at flow, they're not looking at any of that. They're just making sure that what's on the page is grammatically correct. Then you have substantive editors, also called development editors. They're on the other end. They don't care about the spelling and the commas. They might comment on that, but that's not their focus. What their focus is the overall project flowing well? Do you have good transitions? And when you're just starting out with a book, at least, development at that because they don't really development editors don't do it for anything else. They only work with books. And that is a really good editor to work with at the beginning of your project before you even do anything else because they help you decide, okay, should this really be chapter 1? Maybe it should be chapter 10. Maybe it should
Hmm.
chapter 6. Maybe it doesn't belong in the book at all.
Yeah.
And that's what a development editor does. And then there are editors in between, like a copy editor is kind of a cross between a proofreader and a writer because what they do is they're looking to make sure that your copy flows well. They'll look at transitions, they'll look at logical flow of sentence structure and paragraphs. And so they're like a step below the development level. I mean, not in importance, but like in what they're looking at. They're not looking at the big picture, they're looking at sort of the medium picture, and they'll do a little bit of proofreading. So ultimately, if you really want a high quality book, you would hire one of each at least,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
probably 2 of the proofreaders. Because I've like one of my books, I hired an editor. She did a really good job. I double checked her work, published the book, opened the book, found typos. It's like it's like, "Ah." So, that's why you wanna hire an editor to edit the manuscript, and then
Uh-huh.
if you can, a completely different human being to edit the manuscript once it's laid out. Because
Mm-hmm.
you as the writer, you're gonna see what you want is that to be there, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
there or not. And no matter how good a proofreader is, they're gonna miss something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always good to have multiple eyes on your manuscripts. I usually write, self-edit, then I have my husband edit because he's also a writer, and
Mm-hmm.
then I hire an editor and a proofreader.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah.
And sometimes there's still mistakes, but, it's at least it's much, much cleaner.
Yeah. Can you tell how to find a professional editor? Because we have a bunch of editors, a lot of them. I don't want to criticize who is good or not, but can you tell from your experience how to choose the best editor for your writing?
If you can, word of mouth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Find someone who's
Yeah.
actually hired an editor and find out who they edited. I mean, who they
Mm-hmm.
got to edit, because that's really your best bet, because otherwise you're going off of lists from, say, a reputable organization like Writer's Digest. They have lists of editors. Or if you're working with a mentor who has a corral of editors, that's another good option. But if you can get something where you've talked to a human being who worked with that editor, that's your best bet. Barring that, then you kind of have to Google. And then when you find them on the web, always ask for a sample or at least a phone number to talk to one of their previous clients.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, interesting. Um, Once I read a book, Jack London. It's called Martin Eden. For me, it's one of the best books that I've read, and I found that guy without any experience, education, skills could overcome many famous educated people. And what he did, he had perseverance and practice a lot. You mentioned in the first part that we need to read books about how to improve your copywriting. Can you tell more about practice? Because it's the same like if I want to play tennis, if I read 100 books how to play tennis without actually playing, I'm not sure that I can achieve any result with that. Because for
Right.
me, practice is more important than any learning. Can you tell more how to practice every single day?
You pick up the pen and a piece of paper and you do it. I mean
Yeah,
honestly,
simple.
it's that simple. And
uh,
but if you're like trying to reach a specific goal, then
mhm,
write something about that. I mean, one way that I keep my writing skills honed is I blog weekly, I
mhm,
journal, and I also have a day job where I'm a technical writer. So it's like
mhm,
I'm doing different kinds of writing at different points of the day all the time. And it's just
mhm.
I immerse myself in writing, but that's because I'm a writer. It's like that's what I do. If that's not what you do all day, then
Uh-huh.
set aside 15 minutes a day to write something.
Mhm,
Anything. I mean, it could be you could use that 15 minutes to start if you have no ideas in your head, pick up good writing from a magazine or a book and write down, just copy what use that skill,
mhm,
that little
mhm,
technique. You can use that, your 15 minutes to do that, or you can buy a book on writing prompts and then just pick a prompt. In fact,
mhm,
you don't even
mhm,
have to buy a book on writing prompts. You can go into Google, type in writing prompts, and believe me, there are tons of writing prompts out there. And then
mhm,
just pick one and write.
mhm.
I mean, there's really
Yeah.
no specific thing. Have a favorite pen, have a favorite notebook, and write. Just do it.
Mhm. Yeah, let's talk about patience. Once I've heard the story on audio podcast. Sorry, but I forget the name of the author. But she's famous. She sold a lot of copies, best selling in many ratings. But she shared the story. once she got the message, like email from other author who mentioned, that I'm not famous like you. I can't sell my books. It hurts me. It's very hard to go ahead. And if I ask anybody what I need to do, they tell me perseverance. Just
Mm.
do your job, go ahead, be patient with that. But he mentioned it's hard for him to go ahead, and she replied to him, "Okay, leave it. Forget about writing. It's not yours. If you are not willing to wait for results, just leave it. Find something else. It's if you get this hurting, I don't know, like some trauma. So why you need to do it? And I see totally the same when people, for example, create video content or any other content. They give up because they feel they can't get results in the first attempt. Even I remember one study that people don't record the second podcast,
Mm.
because they can't get results from the first one. I don't know, guys, how to get results from first podcast. It takes time to
It
improve your
does.
skills.
It
Yeah.
does. You have to have
Can,
tenacity to do this kind of stuff.
yeah. Can you tell
This
more
is
about patience?
patience. Oh, goodness. Um, you have to have it.
Yeah.
You have to understand that writing, especially in any form of writing, but especially in books, this is a long-term thing. You're not
Mhm.
gonna get immediate results. It doesn't work that way. Now, and the funny thing is like you post your book, you get it to bestseller, let's say, because that usually takes a couple of that can take a couple of hours to a couple of days to get to bestseller.
Mhm.
So it feels instantaneous. But what doesn't show when you launch that book is how much time it took you to get to that book. And what I'm talking about there is there's the book, but then you go back, there's the writing of the book and the editing of the
Mhm.
book and the producing of the book. That could take 6 months, 3 months, depending on how big the book is. But then before you even sit down to write, you've got the idea. And how did you get the idea? You got the idea because you lived life. You had experiences. Only you could write that thing because you had those experiences. So it is really always a long-term thing, and you just have to understand that if you want instant gratification, being a writer is not your bag. It just
Mhm.
isn't.
Yeah.
But if
Exactly.
you're willing to take small wins and celebrate them, because you're gonna get
Mhm.
small wins along the way. Like, "I finished 500 words today. Yay!" Celebrate it. That
Uh,
can help you. But I think probably the thing that helps with patience the most is having a clear why. Why are
mhm.
you doing this? Because if you don't have the passion for the project you're working on, you're just not going to be able to put your butt in the seat and do what you need to do over the long haul because it's going to be a long
Mhm.
haul. Even those
Yeah.
write a book in a weekend things, yeah, the writing
Mhm.
might take a weekend, but the prep doesn't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all about having passion and having a very clear and strong and compelling why.
Yeah, it's the same. For example, I love to share an example about tennis. For example, if you like to play tennis, you're not waiting when someone will pay money for your hobby. Writing is
Right,
hobby. Yeah.
right.
So if you can do this job without waiting for some money, for anything, for rewards, just do your job and everything will be become, I don't know. So yeah, you can achieve everything if you believe that you can. Okay, I have the question about simplicity. Can you tell how it's important to simplify text? Because I remember when sometimes I need to read transcripts, but I dislike it. It's hard to understand. It takes time to read it a few times. But I have my 11 offers. If I read them, I understand correctly in the first attempt. I don't need to think twice what's going on because it's simple to understand. Can you tell
Right.
how to simplify text?
Well, if we're talking about writing in English, which is
Mm-hmm.
all I really know how to write, I don't write in other
Mm-hmm.
languages.
Okay.
You want to have the strong, like Germanic rooted words as opposed to the Latinate words. That helps simplify because the way English evolved, it was like the Germanic words were like sheep, whereas the Latinate Norman words was what was that, mutton? I can't remember what sheep became, but
Mhm.
it was like taking so the Germanic rooted words tend to be more action oriented, more visceral, more set in the real world. Second, don't overuse adjectives. Now, unless
Mhm.
you're in fiction, I mean, I love Ray Bradbury because he's very soft and floral and you just immerse yourself in it. But that's not what a nonfiction book is supposed to be, unless it's a memoir. Then you want it,
Mhm.
right? You want, but always start with your clear, direct sentences. I think it's like object, verb, subject. You can flower it up later, but start just with the simple, get the facts out there and be specific. So don't just say, he picked up the phone. Say,
Mhm.
he picked up the Samsung A15 or
Mhm.
the iPhone, or I mean, or she didn't just smell a flower, she smelled a rose
Mhm.
or a daisy, or I mean, because you want to choose the more specific word because that creates the picture in the person's mind. And when they're picturing something, when they're reading, they're more engaged.
Mhm.
So there's simplicity as in it's really easy to read, but there's also simplicity in communication and getting your ideas out in the fewest words that are very specific. So they are word pictures without having you can say a word picture in like 3 words instead of 10.
Mhm. Yeah.
Does that make
Uh,
sense?
of course, it makes sense. Let me share my rating how I divide books. Boring and excitement. It's my rating, and sometimes I read boring books because I need to get the skills.
Right.
Uh, but excitement, when I take some excitement books, for me it's hard to stop reading. I just do it because I don't know, like it's new reality for me. My mind is another place. Can you tell how to write such books, or text to I don't know, to retain readers longer, to excitement, to give a strong reason to keep doing? And because I remember from other data that 5% of no, 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 not only 5% of all books are read, and the rest people skip and yeah, just bounce them.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I don't know if it's so much exciting as engaging. And one way to make your book engaging is to put you in it.
Hmm.
Because when the reader is reading the book, they should be able to say, "I feel like you're talking to me."
Hmm.
I mean, that's one of the highest compliments I get from my books is I've met people who've read my book and they're like, "You are just like how I imagined you in the book," or, "When I was reading your book, I felt like you were talking directly to me." And the way you do that is number 1, you pick a topic that you are passionate about, so you can't help but it's like you're marinating the book in who you are. And
Yeah.
yes, that will make the book not right for some people, but it'll make it right for your tribe, the people who are meant to get that information from you. So don't be
Nice.
afraid to like geek out and be you. If, in all capital letters.
Can you tell your secrets how you can retain audience like this? I understand it's like friendly manner, and I often see when people write, "We are company that can provide such stuff." Why you write like this? It's better to personalize, to have
Right.
two people, I and you. You reader, I'm an offer. Can you tell about other possible secrets, or methods how to retain audience?
Well, a lot that comes in the marketing.
Hmm.
And one thing that I do is it's something I call your geek factor
Hmm.
because what you geek about is the key to your marketing, really. And what I mean by that, I mean, I don't mean you necessarily have to be into Star Trek, which I am, but I'm that kind of geek, but I'm also a marketing geek and I'm also a bio geek. I mean, what you geek about is what you are so passionate about that
Mhm,
if someone asks you anything about it, they'll just go on and on. I have a
mhm.
friend who like don't even start talking about knitting or yarn around her, or you will be sitting there listening to her talk about fiber for the next hour. That's what she
Yeah.
geeks about. In fact, she's going on a vacation where she's gonna go see sheep to
Mhm.
learn about
Yeah.
she got excited about learning how to this is not my interest. It's fun to listen to her because it's clear she's passionate about it. That's what that's what you want to get out. And sometimes that will make it into your book, but it absolutely should be in your social media. If you can do a geek your personal geek twist on whatever message you need to get out, do it. So, for example, I will find quotes from geeky sources. Like, I one time heard I was watching a Doctor Who episode, and Matt Smith, who played Doctor Who at the time, said something I thought, "Oh, that's brilliant." I mean, I know it was in context of the story, but like I could see how what he said applied to what I was trying to teach my audience. So I wrote a blog post based on that quote from Doctor Who. So what that
Mhm.
does is it forwards your marketing, but also shows your personality at the same time. So you need to
Yeah.
so I guess the bottom line is you need to get to a space where you love who you are. I am not for everyone, but really like me. I think I'm pretty cool. Not like
Yeah.
not in a boastful way, but I mean, if I met me, I would want to be my friend. I don't know if that
Yeah.
was really bad English, but I hope you know what I'm trying to say. It's like if I met another me, I would want to be her
Mhm.
friend.
Yeah, exactly.
And you need to
Yeah.
get to that space where you actually like who you are, where
Mhm.
that's when you can own it and start using it in your marketing. When you start doing that, you start attracting your ideal readers, you start attracting opportunities. I mean, I don't know how you found me, but bam, there you were asking me to be here. And
Mhm.
that's probably because you saw me. You saw who
Yeah.
I was and thought, I like her, I want to talk to her.
Yeah, I wanna learn more. Yeah, it's my main goal and my audience as well. Yeah, I love it. Can you tell more about stories? How to craft your story? Because I often see when you need to create your story, to share your story in marketing. We often see it. For example, Apple doesn't sell products, doesn't sell iPhones,
No.
MacBooks. They sell their stories. And remember when Tim Cook on his presentation. Shared free stories how Apple Watch could help free people, on their lives. Because when I see some mediocre marketing advertisement, I can see a lot of features, but I don't care about these features. I wanna get the story. That's why I bought this Apple Watch. By the way, I bought this Apple Watch to my wife, to my son, because I can't buy one version. They they probably will kill me, if I ignore them. But yeah, it works by sharing story. Can you tell how to craft your story, possible from your experience?
First, you have to understand 2 things. You have to understand yourself. You have to know
Hmm.
and love yourself.
Hmm.
And when interesting things happen in your life, jot them down in a journal so that you'll always have those kind of things to draw from. And know your audience. What are they gonna resonate with? So, for example, people who wanna become authors, a lot of them like to see their name in print. So, I will tell this story about when I was about 3 or 4 years old, and I was at Mombasa Beach, and my father wrote my name in the sand, and he said,
Hmm.
"Karma, what does that say?" And I looked at it and I went, "Ka Karma!" It was the first time I saw my name in print. I fell in love and have been trying to get my name in print ever since. Fellow
Yeah,
authors are gonna understand that story. So what you're trying to do is find these little moments in your life that apply to your audience. And that's how
yeah,
you share that story because they'll see themselves in you. And when they
yeah.
see themselves in you, they can see the possibilities because they're probably looking at you like, "Oh, you've achieved this thing, you're on a pedestal." But if they can see themselves in you before that pedestal, they can see themselves eventually getting to that pedestal and standing right beside you.
Yeah, totally love it. Can you tell about consistency? How to be consistent with writing, and probably if you have some limits to write like 1,000 words a day or anything else, how do you have some day off without writing? Tell more about that.
Oh my goodness. Consistency is probably one of the hardest things to maintain, especially when
Mhm.
you have ADD, which I do, and are really, really busy.
Mhm.
But there are certain things that you can do, and you have to try them all, find out what works for you.
Mhm.
One common piece of advice is put it on your calendar. I tried that. It doesn't work for me. It does work for other people because I'll like look at it on my calendar and go, I just won't do it then. So that has not helped. I have what has worked for me is there's a to-do list software that I use called Amazing Marvin. And I'm able to go in there and you're able to check off what you want. You can plan your day by how many hours it'll take so that you know when you're being too ambitious, which is me most of the time. And
Mhm.
that helps me be consistent because it's on my to-do list and I can make conscious choices. Okay, what thing today is most important? So sometimes the writing is going to be your most important thing.
Mhm.
But then other times, maybe taking your kid to the hospital will be more important.
Mhm.
I mean, every day is going to be different. And don't beat yourself up if you can't do your writing every day. Put it there, try to get there, try to put in 15 minutes, just 15 minutes. Do it if you have a day job, do it during one of your breaks.
Mhm.
You could wake up early in the morning. Some people like that, some people don't. You could do it at the end of the day. All you need is 15 minutes a day to write something. Some
Mhm.
people like to have a word count that they're going for. Some people find that too daunting. I find for me that having the time is better because then I
Mhm.
write whatever I write. Sometimes I can write 1,000 words in 15 minutes because I'm like
Mhm.
in the flow. Sometimes it's struggle to get out 100.
Oh
So
yeah.
if you're working toward a word count, then you're more likely to beat yourself up. And beating yourself does not serve you.
Yeah.
So
So familiar.
find the system that works for you and your personality. And there's so much advice out there on how to be consistent. I'm not going to like go all over it. I've just share with you what works for me and what I've heard
Yeah.
can work for others.
Yeah, so valuable. Yeah, and I know about that when you can't write a few sentences for an hour, and or you can write like I don't know, a big draft just for a few minutes because you know you have this admiration. You wanna, you have I don't know, just wanna share some skills, knowledge. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I
Right.
know about that. uh, can you tell, for example, let's imagine you started today from scratch without any experience, knowledge, skills. What will you do to become a writer?
Find a mentor. And
Hmm.
that can be either what I call virtual mentors, where it's just somebody you admire from afar and you read everything they have and you attend every free webinar, but find and you want to try and stick to 1, 2 at the most, because if you have too many mentors going on, then you're gonna get confused because they're gonna start contradicting themselves. Find a
Hmm.
mentor, stick with them for at least a year, unless, like, it gets really unpleasant, then walk
Hmm.
away. I mean, don't be your don't follow a mentor that makes you unhappy. Find a mentor that makes you happy, then follow them for a year. Just do what everything they say, and
Hmm.
at the end of that year, evaluate how did that mentor take me further down the road? And at that point, you can decide, do I want to spend another year with them? Or do I want to move on to a different mentor? Because different mentors will teach you at different places in your journey as an author.
Hmm.
And you want to find the mentor that's going to help you where you are, not too far ahead, not what you've already done. But it's really being more consistent with the voices you're listening to, I think
Hmm.
is really key, especially in the beginning, because it's when you don't know what you're doing, if you have too many voices, you're gonna like end up with your head spinning around because this person's saying do this, and then this other person saying do the opposite. Which is right? Well, they're both right, depending on who you are, what your situation is, and where you are in your journey.
Mhm.
but they're not both right for you right now in the moment. Choose one.
Yeah, yeah, valuable. Yeah, I agree with that. Uh, can you tell about the future of writing? Because the reason why I'm asking about that, we have AI tools that can generate text just to click one button, and you can get written text by
Yep.
machines. Of course, today it's not quality. If I check out many times, I reviewed these tools, and the quality is like mediocre. It's rewriting. Probably AI tools can beat mediocre writers without experience, beginners who just started their way, but they can't beat experienced
Right.
writers who have the skills.
Exactly.
But what about future? These tools are growing, evolving. What do you think? Writing is in dangerous or not? What do you think about that?
Isaac Asimov wrote a short story about this topic. He
Mhm,
got it was, I believe, in the 80s. And in the short story, he's writing the story as if he's the main character. So the Isaac Asimov character buys a computer and he starts writing his next book. And then he starts interacting with the computer, and by the end of the short story, the computer has completely taken over his writing. He can just go to the beach. He wrote this as a cautionary tale, and I mean, I've probably been reading the same articles you have about how there's a new scientist out there who's actually got an AI who can write fiction.
mhm,
Now, I actually do use AI software.
mhm,
There's a company called Jasper. It used to be Jarvis,
mhm.
now it's
Yeah.
Jasper. I use it when, like, oh, I'm stuck. I can't remember. It's like I want to do something. I will use it as an idea generator, a Kickstarter, but it is
Mhm,
never what writes my copy
mhm,
because, well, for one, sometimes it just says stuff that you're like, that's not even, that doesn't even make sense, or it's not the direction I'm going, or whatever. But it will spark an idea. So I think AI can be a very good partner to a writer,
mhm,
but we're not anywhere near to it replacing a writer. Now, the future of writing, there's the science fiction lover in me that goes, wouldn't it be cool if there was AI out there where you couldn't even tell they were AI? You just thought they were another person. And then there's the me that watched Terminator and thinks, no, that wouldn't be cool. So I'm on the fence on that one. I mean, I like it the way it is now, where I can use it
mhm,
as a partner.
mhm. Yeah,
Helps me write faster because I
yeah,
don't spend as much time being stuck. Because writer's block is real, no matter what anyone tells you, it is real, and it happens to pretty much everyone. It's just some people let it get to them and stop them for years, and other people go, "Okay, I'm stuck here, I'm gonna go right over here," and then they're unstuck and they circle back. It's how you approach writer's block, whether it stops you or not. And
yeah,
AI is a really useful tool for helping you get unstuck,
yeah.
especially when you're on deadline.
Yeah, exactly. I am on the same boat. Yeah, I love using them just because it helps to increase speed of my writing.
Exactly.
I can't use them like the final draft. Yeah, I
No.
need to edit, but it helps to find ideas. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I have the final question. Can you tell what writers need to do today? I mean, like one thing that all writers need to do every single day, or even not every single day, but need to do weekly, and what they don't need to do or possible to avoid.
Okay. With what goal in mind are you thinking? Because there's different things for different goals.
Mm, I don't know. Like, let's imagine grow business.
Okay, grow your
Yeah.
business.
Mhm.
All right. So clarity is the most, you need to be able to get to a point of clarity for everything that you write. Who are you writing for? And what will they get out of it? Because once you know who you're writing for and what benefit they will get and how it will help them in their own mission for because every reader has a what I call a market mission when they pick up something to read. They have like, I want to achieve something, and that's why I'm going to read this. It may be I want to achieve relaxation, so I will pick up a novel or a short story. Or it may, I want to achieve getting better at my email, so I'm going to read this article about emailing. Understand what their mission is, what benefit your article can give them, and who they are. Once you know those 3 things, the writing almost becomes easy because you know exactly what to put into that piece of writing and how to do it because you know who you're talking to. So are you writing for a technical audience, you're gonna write one way. If you're writing for moms, you're gonna write a different way. If you're writing for
Yeah.
parents, you're gonna write a different way. It's like whoever that audience is, write for that person, that kind of person. Give them the benefit you've promised to give them and make sure that that promise helps them with their greater mission of picking up your piece of writing in the first place. And that goes with any kind of writing, whether it's a blog post, a social media post, or a full book. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
You need those 3 pieces of information, and you need it for every single thing you do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think PhD with the best skills degree can't write the text for kids who play online games if they don't play online games, because
Right.
they have different languages. It's not about Grammarly or knowing how to write. You need to speak with your audience to understand them.
Exactly.
So yeah. Love it. Karma, it's a big pleasure to get my show, to learn from you. You share a lot of valuable insights. It's one of the best episodes, because I see it's a different way of marketing, of writing. And we know that writing is foundation of any content creation. Tell our audience how they can reach out to you, learn more about you, follow you.
Perfect. Just go to authorneering.com, and if you click on there's a tab on that says Author Diagnostics. It'll tell you about the Author Diagnostics. 2 of them are free right now. I invite you, if you've got a book idea, do the book idea diagnostic session. It is amazing. I've been getting amazing feedback. People are loving it. I highly recommend that. If you're a little bit further along and want to know how to build your business, then that's the author's code analysis session. So check out one of those and you'll be amazed what you'll learn about what you're doing right
Mhm.
and how to make what you're doing now better.
Nice, nice. Okay, guys, you can find this link in the description below. Listen to us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again for your time. A big pleasure. Welcome back anytime because I've learned myself a lot of new skills. I think everyone can get something new because for me, it's my passion to learn from experts like you. Okay, guys, thanks for listening and watching us.
All right. Thank you. Bye.